All right, welcome into Hot Topics in Fourth Quarter Clutch. I'm Brian Zeigler, and with me, Noah Weintraub. So we're talking about quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, um, young ones, young running quarterbacks, and their injuries. We're going to start out with Geno Smith. Today it was announced by the Jets that Geno Smith will start. Apparently, Mark Sanchez has got a little bit more of a serious injury than it looked like originally with his shoulder, and he will not be around for the first game. Noah, thoughts?
Well, according to CBS Sports, it's a pretty dire situation with Sanchez injury-wise. He could be out several weeks, so he may not be playing with the Jets till week 3. You could kind of tell Geno was going to start when they signed Brady Quinn, so they would have a veteran presence. Of course, Brady Quinn is a castaway quarterback that no one's wanted 5 teams in 7 years. And he's
Mm.
going up against former Jet Darrelle Revis. So, as a Jet fan, you just have to pray he doesn't throw it Darrelle Revis' way.
It's the old versus the new, right?
It is new.
Yeah. Okay. So also Mark Sanchez is due to make just over $8 million this year. What do you think the chances are that he actually gets cut by Saturday?
Highly unlikely. I think Rex Ryan loves him too much, even though the GM hates him. And
Mm.
I feel like Rex Ryan will get his way in the end, since it is a contract year for him.
Yeah, I think they'll keep him around too, just because that money's guaranteed. So either way, they're going to be paying him. So they'll probably just keep him around for this season and then let him go after this year. Okay, so moving on to EJ Manuel. Actually, he had a minor knee procedure earlier in camp, and apparently he's going to be available and starting week 1 for the Bills against the Patriots. So, what do you think, Noah?
He definitely deserves it. When 26 of 33 for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the 2 preseason games he was in. Uh, there was no doubt in my mind that he was ever going to lose the quarterback battle to Kevin Cobb, who they brought in. And I feel like, you know what? You spent a first round pick on a quarterback, you got to give him a chance, see what he has. Unless you have a guy like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady blocking his way, or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't really think he was a really solid quarterback when draft day was around and the Bills took him. I really was not thinking he was a first round draft pick, and he probably in this past draft, I don't think he actually was a first round draft pick, just because I think they could have let him slip to the second round and they still could have gotten him. But I'd say he was definitely the most prepared out of any of the rookie quarterbacks coming into the NFL this year to stand in the pocket and be a starter. Just his pocket presence during the preseason, from what I've seen, has been solid. He's been really extra comfortable from what I've seen. So I think that's pretty impressive. The only thing I have as far as a worry about him is with a knee procedure there. I mean, if he goes down with another injury, their next option, Kevin Cobb, I don't really see that as a great backup situation for them.
Well, Kevin Cobb isn't going to play at all this year. When he had that concussion on August 24th, it ended up being so serious that they put him on injured reserve. So he
Oh,
will
okay.
not play it down this year.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So EJ
they're
Manuel's
gonna
only
live and
competition is
die with
Jeff Tool.
EJ Manuel. It sounds like. Well, we'll see what happens. That'll be really interesting. Okay, so the last young quarterback coming in, Terrell Pryor is reportedly from the San Francisco Chronicle actually reported that he is going to start the Raiders' first game. Obviously the Raiders actually have not confirmed the report or anything like that because for strategic purposes. Um, but I don't know. What do you think, Noah?
I feel like they really want a quarterback to start that's more like RG3 than Andrew Luck. because Pryor is a dual threat quarterback. He's not going to wow you with his passing, but he will wow you with his running because he can run the ball. In the preseason, 14 carries, 131 yards. That's a 9.4 yard per carry average, which is phenomenal.
Yep. With Pryor, I'm thinking it's going to be really interesting to see how he develops over this year because he really still has a little bit more development to do, mostly with his decision making and his accuracy, which kind of go hand in hand. The big thing that I saw was the end of last season. He actually had a pretty good game against San Diego. He threw 2 touchdown passes, only 1 interception, and he had a rushing touchdown as well. So if he can continue to put the Raiders in a situation to score points and to actually get in the end zone, that's the big thing. Because against Seattle, their last preseason game, they did not get in the end zone, and that obviously is unacceptable. You've got to be able to get touchdowns, otherwise you're gonna lose games. You just can't. I mean, they did win 1 game last year on 4 Janikowski field goals, but you just can't do that. You can't win games on field goals consistently.
And this is probably Matt Flynn's last chance to ever win a starting quarterback job. He's 28 years old. He lost last year to rookie Russell Wilson. This year, if he loses to lowly Terrell Pryor, there's not really any other quarterback job that he deserves to win.
Yeah, right now the Raiders, they don't. I honestly do not believe that they have an NFL quarterback that could start and go a full season as a solid quarterback. They just don't have one on their roster. I'm actually thinking, from what I'm seeing, Matt McGloin has the best long-term potential, and he was an undrafted free agent signed by us, by the Raiders. So he, like, as a long-term potential, that he seems like the actual best deal there, which is kind of sad, actually.
Remember that undrafted quarterbacks can be pretty good. There was this guy named Tony Romo who was undrafted and signed, and he's been a pretty good quarterback for Dallas. So who knows? Maybe he could be the next Tony Romo.
We'll see what happens. I hope I'm not comparing him to Tony Romo in the future.
Hey, if he throws 30 touchdowns a season, that's better than Pryor and Flynn will get this year.
Yeah, well, just make sure he doesn't hold for any kickers anytime soon.
That's why you have Matt
So,
Flynn.
yeah. Anyways, so actually, there's some interesting playoff races going on in MLB right now in Major League Baseball. The NL Central has the top 3 teams separated by 3.5 games right now. Noah, thoughts?
It's definitely a tight race. A lot of people probably 2-3 weeks ago thought the Yankees were going to be done, but ever since they got Alfonso Soriano in that trade with the Cubs, they have been on fire offensively. The team to watch that somehow is still in this race beside the Yankees are the Cleveland Indians. They don't have a lot of star-studded players, but they do play in a weak division, and they could potentially give the Tampa Bay Rays or the Oakland Athletics a run for their money for the wild card.
Yeah, the AL playoff wild card there is absolutely nuts. I mean, Yankees 2.5 games back, and the Orioles are right on their heels with 3 games back. I mean, from Tampa Bay, it is absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, it's really going to come down to the Yankees because the Yankees they play both the Orioles in a 4-game set and the Rays in a 3-game set. So it really comes down to, are they going to win those games or not? Because if they win those games, they got a solid chance at making that second wild card spot. And they would probably be just about flipping out if they actually do that with the dozen injuries that they had this year.
The two things I noticed that that are definitely good signs for the future. One of them is the Kansas City Royals. Despite having a really, really young team, they are still in wild card contention, and
Yeah,
they have a really, really good farm system. So that's going to be scary to see how they develop the next few years. And Oakland, despite not really having any star-studded players, they could potentially get the number 2 seed in the AL going into the playoffs.
yeah. I think the Oakland is a solid team this year. They're really well rounded. It's interesting to see such a team with such a cheap roster. I mean, they don't really have a lot of heavy contracts or big time money that they shell out. I mean, just historically, they haven't done that because they're a smaller market team, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they do in the playoffs. Because I mean, they could have a solid playoff run. This could be the season for Billy Beane to win that World Series. I don't know. We'll see, but it's going to be interesting.
And also in sad news, if the Yankees beat the White Sox today, the White Sox will be officially eliminated from playoff contention.
I never knew that they still had a shot, honestly,
Someone in
because they
Chicago,
didn't.
someone in the north side of Chicago, actually no, the south side of Chicago is probably still crying.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a tough couple of years for the White Sox. Okay, so the NL Central. What do you think, Noah?
The NL Central is definitely getting tight. The Pirates have been smart. They acquired 2 big bats. Their starting rotation is very, very underrated and young, except for AJ Burnett and Liriano.
Hmm.
Uh, I think Cincy is honestly the team to watch because they have a pretty good rotation and they have a nice offense. And they
Hmm.
have arguably the best closer in baseball with Aroldis Chapman, who could throw 106 miles per hour. But the
Yeah,
Pirates should win the division.
yeah. I think the Pirates got a solid deal going on here. Pretty historic. This is going to be their first winning season in 20 seasons. So this will be they've had 20 really terrible losing seasons, and this will be their first one. Pretty amazing. Actually, the Pirates fans actually protested publicly in the stadium at one point a few years ago, just going up during a seventh inning stretch and just standing in front of the concession stands, not even buying anything. It was pretty interesting. So it was obvious that they needed to do something about it, and they have. Cincy, I'm looking at Billy Hamilton actually, the guy they just added. Huge stolen base machine. Like he just steals bases like they're I don't know
The pennies.
donuts from cops. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
And
So we'll see.
also St. Louis is definitely a contender, probably underlooked
Yeah.
because they don't really have a lot of star-studded players, although they do have Adam Wainwright. And the key for them is going to be can their offense match up with Cincy or with Pittsburgh, because that's going to be the difference between if they end up being the division winner, the top wild card seed with home field advantage for the play-in game, or the team that will be on the road for the play-in game.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with that for sure. That's definitely one to watch.
And also, as a
Okay.
side
So
note,
yesterday.
oh wait,
Go ahead.
also as a side note, the Pirates had their first winning season since 1992, or in other words, the last time they had a winning season was before Bryce Harper was born.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And there were two teams, the Marlins and the Diamondbacks. They didn't even exist then. Since then, Diamondbacks have won 2 World Series, and the Marlins won one. Yeah, so kind of interesting how that worked. So yesterday, Mariano Rivera ended up saving his 40th game of the season. This is the 9th season that he's had with 40 saves or more, tying Trevor Hoffman for first overall in MLB history. Noah, what do you think about that?
he just he's momentous. It's it's mojic. It's whatever you want to call it. He's just unbelievable. There's really no way to put about it. The only question I have in my mind, there's no doubt about it, he's a Hall of Famer, but can he get more votes than the person with the highest vote total, which is Tom Seaver in 1992? He got every vote but five for a 98.84 percentage.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. It's phenomenal. It's pretty insane how just consistent he has been over his career. Just to come in and like 13, 14 years later be pitching the exact same, just as effectively and just as ridiculously. I mean, he has just basically defied all of the age expectations of MLB pitchers.
And
And
also Joe Girardi is going to plead with Mo during the offseason to see if he can play one more year. Because he knows he can. The question is, does Mo want to?
honestly, I don't see him doing that. He's been pretty much solid the entire time, just saying this is his last year, and I don't see him coming back for another season. I see him. I mean, he said at one point that he had achieved everything that he ever wanted. So I don't really see him needing to come back for another year. There really isn't any reason. I mean, how many World Series does he have? Like
Five.
seriously,
He has
he's got 5 World Series.
five
That
World
I
Series
mean that
championships out of six.
who needs anything more than that? Like really. I mean, he's the best closer of all time. He just tied Trevor Hoffman. I mean, he is just Hall of Fame caliber, period. There's no doubt about it. And it's like, what else is there? It doesn't matter. He's had a really solid year. Might as well go out on a solid year instead of maybe a year that he had like a bunch of injuries or something like that. Okay, so today recently, Usain Bolt actually he announced he's going to retire after the 2016 Olympics. Noah, what do you think?
Well, the Olympics is not going to be the same without him. Beside his dominance in sprinting, 100, 200, and the 4x100, he has a great personality. He's very confident, borderline arrogant, depending on your definition of it. But ever since he's gotten into the Olympics, he's all he's done is win, and his times are unbelievable. He has 9.58 100 meter dash, which is the world record, and a
Yep.
19.19 for the 200 meter. And he wants to go out on top. He's 27 right now. So depending on his birthday, he could be 29 or 30 by the time the Olympics comes around. And
hmm
he could go down as one of the best Olympic athletes of all time.
Yeah, I totally agree. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he broke the record for the 100 meter like twice, didn't he?
Yep, he broke it twice.
Yeah, he broke it twice. I mean, you just can't get any better than that. That's ridiculous. There's lightning speed from that one picture that they showed. Actually, they had a pretty epic picture of him with a lightning bolt in the back. It was pretty insane. It's going to be interesting. That he just continues his dominance of those events, and it's just ridiculous. Definitely not going to be the same without him.
And also, there's a quote from ESPN: "If I want to be among the greats of Muhammad Ali and Pele, and all these guys, I have to continue dominating until I retire." So
Yeah,
that just shows you his persona and his determination is very tough to match.
yeah, and he's that personality that wants to finish on top instead of like slowly trailing off or something like that. So this really doesn't surprise me at all. All right, cool. Thank you. That is it for Hot Topics on Fourth Quarter Clutch. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you later with some more of these. I'm Brian Ziegler.
And I'm Noah Weintraub.